It's time once again to slip into your camo, grab your bow, and join us out in the field for another episode of the Up North Journal, presented by PSE Archery. The Up North Journal crew is knocked and ready to rock for another exciting adventure. So let's step outside and hit the trail.
This episode is brought to you by PSE Archery,
Black Eagle Arrows,
Cabela's,
Antler Action,
Spot Shooter Archery,
Tom's Custom Turkey Calls,
Family Traditions Tree Stands,
and Badass Slingshots.
Welcome back to another episode of the Up North Journal, everybody. I'm your host, Mike Adams, sitting in the cabin tonight. Dan, you okay?
I almost got lost getting here, dude.
Why is that? A little foggy?
A little foggy, man.
Okay, all right.
It's been a lot foggy.
You should have used your little Jenny GPS to bring you over.
I almost needed to, man. It was like, it's been foggy the last 4 days.
Yeah, it has been. But you know what? We got guests that found their way over here today.
Yeah.
It was back tonight.
It was, I had to take my time getting over here because of the fog because I didn't want to lose our guest. And your guest was already here.
Yeah, my buddy Dave made it all the way up from Indiana. Benefit for Kids.
Yeah.
Banquet. We had a rocking good time. So,
and we got Dan Jasa in the cabin.
Dan Jasa and David Boggs. Guys, what's going on, man? It's good to have you.
Thanks for having us.
Good to be here.
Back in the North Country there, David. What's going on, my man?
Oh, trying to finish up another video project. My normal excuse.
That's
Don't
right.
tell the wife.
Yeah, right on, man. We've been cracking it hard for the last 2 days, working on some Backwater Legacies videos for those guys. So, yeah, we'll work on them once we get the show done. But tonight, you brought Dan Jasa over, who is the new Michigan
And Ohio.
and Ohio sales manager for PSE Archery,
Which we met at ATA.
Yeah, so we've introduced you before to our listeners, but how do you like Michigan so far, besides the fog?
To be honest with you, I haven't seen a whole lot besides the road between shop to shop because that's
Okay.
all I've been doing since I've been here.
Been burning the roads up.
Oh, I'm already over 1,000 miles in the last week, and it's nonstop shop to shop and introducing myself, and making up for lost time and not being up here, and just trying to do my job.
All right. Gotta love that. 1,000 miles.
1,000 miles going from shop to shop.
He could have already drove around the whole mitten of Michigan, I believe.
Probably. And he hasn't left the state, right?
Right on. So, but tell everybody a little bit about yourself. You're from St. Louis, Missouri. That's where your last stop was, right?
Yep, I'm originally from Nebraska. Moved to St. Louis, Missouri to work 13 years ago. Grew up on a farm, hunting, fishing my whole life. Went to college, got my degree in exercise physiology, and then worked as kind of a post-rehab specialist for a small gym in St. Louis. That's where I met my wife. We've been there for almost 13 years, and then this job with PSE kind of popped up, and kind of made the decision of, yeah, this looks like a good place for us to kind of go as a journey together, and nice little adventure, and I get to sell bows for a living now.
How cool is that? You gotta love it. Now, you said you grew up in Nebraska, hunting and fishing out there. Is that something that's like deep roots in your family? I mean, is it you guys are hunters and fishermen out there?
I've grown up on the farm. I mean, my dad was always working on the farm, so I just kind of naturally gravitated towards the outdoors. And hunting and fishing is just something you walk out your back door and you got all these things to go out and hunt and chase, and it's just something I like doing. So,
And it gets you outdoors, and you know what? He's moving, and he's coming into Michigan and Ohio, so he can just continue that right on.
No kidding, right? Water everywhere. You get to hunt, you get to fish. I mean, this area, once you kind of get accustomed to it and get the lay of the land, it's a beautiful place to live. It's a beautiful place to play. Lots of good sportsmen and women here in this state and Ohio.
Absolutely, and
So.
you'll find out when you finally get some time between shops to do some fishing. There isn't a lake too far away at any moment.
No, you can stumble into one just about anywhere.
Pretty much, it's really nice that way. And you know, when you start taking some trips and you start driving around and visiting the state, it gets even better. Morrow down in Ohio, well, that's Ohio,
Right?
Yeah. So
It's that Michigan-Ohio thing, right?
yeah, exactly.
Now, what type of hunting did you do out there? Did you cut your teeth on and fishing out there?
mainly just pond fishing, largemouth bass, crappie, bluegill, catfish, that kind of stuff. And then hunting, what my big thing was whenever I was growing up was pheasant hunting.
Okay.
So I ran German short hairs and did a lot of pheasant and quail hunting. That was my big deal. I didn't really get into whitetail deer, big game hunting until, I don't know, 9 years ago maybe.
Really?
Yep.
In Missouri, then?
Yep.
Okay.
So bird hunting was what I mainly did growing up. I did a little bit of deer hunting, but it wasn't the big thing for me that really got me excited was the pheasant hunting.
Okay.
Getting out and putting miles on, getting the dogs working. That was what really excited me.
It used to be like that in the state.
Used to, until they started developing a lot of the land around here. A lot of the agriculture areas got, overgrown housing developments and things like that. Now, out there in Nebraska where you're from, is it still like that, where you can go out and just take a dog and go hunt, or is you're losing birds?
They've got a decent amount of public land. The pheasant population's gone down quite a bit, but what has really changed since I've been there has been the turkey population.
Okay.
You can't go out there without hitting a turkey with your car, it seems like. I mean,
Okay.
They're everywhere, and they're the hybrid Merriam Eastern birds. So
Okay.
they're real vocal, a lot of fun to hunt.
Is that due to maybe the NWTF doing some work out there and bringing birds and reintroducing them?
I know they reintroduced some birds in our area, so I'm sure that has a lot to do with it.
Okay.
I know NWTF has done a lot of work out there, so I would assume that is. But I know Pheasants Forever has done a lot of work trying to get the pheasant population back up too. But
Right on.
just the combination of rough winters and getting the hatch kills and things like that, the population isn't where it used to be.
Right on. Well, now, what gave you the deer hunting bug? I mean, you moved to Missouri. That alone, to me, would that's deer heaven down there.
So one of my clients that I was working with, he knew I liked to hunt and fish, and he's like, "Hey, I got this bow. I know you said you'd shot a bow before, and I did a lot of bow fishing back in Nebraska too." And he's like, "Well, I got this bow. I'm getting a new one, and you want to buy this one from me? I'll sell it to you cheap, and then I'll take you hunting." It's like, sure. It's like I'd get back in the outdoors, do some different stuff, and then after that, it kind of turned into, okay, now deer season's over, and I want to shoot some more. And then slowly started finding out about these tournaments and 3D shoots and things like that, and that kind of got me really sucked in hard. Okay. So started doing 3D shoots and started doing indoor leagues in the winter, and then all of a sudden found out how great St. Louis is just for archery in general. There's probably 4 or 5 public ranges that are free to go to in St. Louis. We've got 5 or 6 different archery clubs that have shoots all the time. So that's what really got me going on the archery side of it.
Free ranges to go to. We don't have anything like that around here.
No,
not that I know of. David, in your area, you got anything like that? That's public, open to the public.
No, just there in Strawtown, we have my new range that we opened up, and the county parks, they are branching out and hitting other outdoor recreational type facilities like that. But it's in their 5-year plan, but there's nothing really good rolling other than what we have right now.
Okay, being connected into the archery, both of you. Is that something you're maybe seeing a little growth in as far as maybe more outreach into the public and open ranges for people to shoot at, or not? Have you run across anything like that?
Missouri does a really good job with their conservation department. Besides the Pittman-Robertson Act, we also have a 1/8 of, Missouri has a 1/8 of 1% sales tax on everything that's sold in the state of Missouri that goes to the Conservation Commission.
Everything?
Everything.
Oh, wow.
So,
okay.
so it's not just sporting goods. It's 1/8 of 1% of every sale that's made in the state of Missouri. The Conservation Commission gets that, and then they divvy it up, and then part of that it goes to archery.
There's a concept. Wow.
Yeah, don't start.
All
Don't
states should get in on
start.
that.
You want me to get the soapbox?
No.
We'll get rolling, man.
Yeah.
So I know conservation departments get a lot of bad raps just because you can't please everyone. You're working with insurance companies on trying to keep deer numbers down, so there's less cars getting hit, and you want to have the maximum amount of people be able to get out and experience the outdoors. And some people want just big bucks.
Yep.
So
It's a catch-22.
I think Missouri's done a great job, and I think that sales tax they put on has opened up a lot of doors, and they have actually purchased a lot of ground, so there's a lot of public hunting in Missouri.
Okay. Quick question on a side note: do you have to register your deer down there when you shoot them?
They do a telecheck now.
Mandatory?
Yep, everything's mandatory. At least mandatory telecheck. This last year we had some CWD going through, so I think there was 2 or 3 weekends where they had mandatory check, like actual physical check-in stations, where they went and took tissue samples to test for CWD.
Okay.
You had to go there, didn't you?
You knew I was going there.
I know you were. And
I think everybody ought to do a telecheck. I mean, to me, it's just a no-brainer.
someday in our lifetime, it's going to happen.
It's going to happen. It will.
Well,
someday.
I know people can't see this, but I'll actually show it to you. We actually have a app that you can go in and check your deer in on your phone.
Oh, you can do it free to throw through an app.
Yep. So there's the app. You can actually go in. You can look at every single one of the tags that you've purchased for the year, and you actually go back year to year and see the tags you purchased.
Really?
And then as you tag an animal, you can hit tag, and then once you enter in all the information, you can actually check it on your phone.
So you don't even have to call them. You just do it right on the app.
Do it right on the app. And it's made it awesome this year.
Now there's a concept.
Yep,
it's getting easier and easier.
Isn't that amazing how that works? The concept of using a phone, which pretty much everybody's got in their life.
Right on.
A telecheck,
Indiana, same way, right, Dave?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, check them all in.
IntelliCheck. Been that way for 40 years, one way or the other. We just switched to IntelliCheck 6 years ago, 8 years ago, somewhere like that. But we've always kept the numbers.
Okay, right on.
Michigan's becoming the redheaded stepchild.
I don't want to go there.
I know. I'm going to go there because it's getting ridiculous. Everybody else can do it, and we
It
can't.
is.
What is your guys' limit, like doe limits or?
It depends on where you hunt. Where I hunt in northeastern Michigan, we hunt in the TB zone, and you can buy a doe tag a day.
Yeah.
So
So there's sections in Missouri that are unlimited doe tags, but you don't have to buy unlimited with that app. You can, once you shoot one, you get on your app and buy another one.
so you can actually buy the tag right on the app as well. Very cool. So if you're in the field, you got a service.
And you got good service,
you can buy it right from the field.
Yep.
Wow.
That won't do you any good up at camp.
No, not at our camp. No, we have to go about 5 miles just to get cell service, but that's a whole nother story.
But you could go to the cabin though and get.
We've got Wi-Fi there.
Right, so you can do that.
Yeah.
And I just got to go to the high side of my property, but I can't buy doe tags, so
Right
I
on.
won't even go
Yeah,
there.
the app's pretty cool. You can get all your federal stamps and things like that on it too. So
Do
you
the
don't
federal
even,
as well?
You don't even have to carry around a paper tag anymore.
That is cool. Gotta like that. Unless you lose your phone.
If you lose your phone, you're
You're screwed.
Yes, you are.
Up a creek without a paddle.
But no, it's just
Find
one
my
of those
phone.
things. And look at that. He's just getting into the big game, and he's shooting tournaments and everything. And
Well, speaking of tournaments, I tell you what. Why don't we step outside? We take our first break. We come back. We want to pick both your guys' brain a little bit about tournament shooting.
yeah,
That's
something we
I
don't do.
We don't do it all. So
So we got experts here. Let's tap the experts.
right on. All right, we'll step outside. We'll be right back after this.
I shoot PSE because I like one pin to 40 yards.
I shoot PSE for the perfect combination of feel and performance.
I shoot PSE because you can shoot lighter poundage and increase arrow speed.
I shoot PSE for the fastest bows on the planet. I shoot PSE because my livelihood depends on my bow.
I shoot PSE because better engineering makes a better bow.
I shoot PSE.
I shoot PSE.
I shoot PSE. I shoot PSE.
Experience PSE. Experience performance.
We know the future of hunting depends on our nation's youth. But did you know that in many states, it's illegal for you to take your son or daughter hunting until the age of 12 or even older? As a result, we have fewer young hunters, and the Families Afield program is designed to eliminate those barriers. Hunting is safe, and the safest hunters afield are young people with adult mentors. Visit our website at familiesafield.org to find out how you can bring more families afield.
Welcome back. Second segment of the show, and Danny's throwing $100 bills around.
Yeah, absolutely. And
I'm glad you got some to throw.
well, you know what? I'm just thinking of this competition that we can form and have these two guys shoot at it, and you'd even get in on it.
I'd throw an arrow at a $100 bill.
But
I probably wouldn't hit it, but I'd try.
But we'd have to go to a distance that nobody's got a pin set for it.
Well, these guys shoot long distance.
Well, I tell you
Well, at least David does. I don't know. How about you, Dan?
Yeah.
What do you typically shoot at for long distance?
Well, the range that I had by my house before I moved, if you stood in the parking lot by your car, it was 124 and a half yards.
Okay.
So
124 and a half. Just give or take a few inches.
Jeez.
So in some of the field events, they start out at 70 too. They'll start out 70, work their way in. 70, 60, 50.
And then an NFAA field round is anywhere from 20 feet to 80 yards.
Okay.
So, and then the full feet is 90 meters into 30 meters.
Okay. So you shoot mainly indoors.
Indoors and field are my two things that I like to shoot the most, but I'll do anything.
Okay, and David, you're mainly outdoors.
Yep.
Okay. Dan, explain a little bit just about shooting tournaments and the things that you shoot. Whether it be indoor or outdoor, the different styles.
So like you got NFAA 5-spot where you've got either a 5-spot target or a single face where the white scores 5 and you just count X's as tiebreakers. Perfect scores 360X. You get the Vegas target. It's a 3-spot or a single spot. 10 for the inner ring. Well, not the inner ring, but the ring that really counts to get you to the shoot off, and then you go to the inner baby X ring. And then like USA Archery or World Archery Tournaments where it's just the baby X on the Vegas target counts as a 10. Everything else is 9, 8, down to 0.
Okay. So 360 and down, and then all the other tournaments you're talking about, is that pretty much the same, right around that same scoring range?
So like a USA, a 300 is a perfect round. A 300 on a USA archery target would be the equivalent of a 330X on a Vegas target.
Okay. All right. Gotcha.
So like they just got done doing one of the World Cup, or they got done doing Nîmes today, and I think Stefan Hansen from PSE won it. But he ended up with a 150 in his final match, which is 15 X's and 15 shots. So,
jeez.
And that's shooting a 23 diameter arrow instead of a 27 like NFAA or Vegas uses.
Okay, David. Now you're outdoor.
Yep, I'm outdoor. I'm punching foam. I'm hunting.
Okay.
I'm hunting foam.
All
I'm
right.
hunting animals that are made of foam, varying different sizes, but they're a realistic paint job. They do have a scoring ring, but from our stakes, our pro class stakes and stuff, you really can't see them. You pick a spot with your binoculars. We all wear binoculars, and you'll try to find some kind of either a paint mark or a shadow or something like that, and identify that spot. And then that's where we're ideally we're going to put our arrows. In the other classes, there's open classes where you can have magnification, and in those classes, sometimes you can see those closer ranges. But I'll shoot anything from 5 yards out to 55 is official, but they give you a plus or minus 4.
Okay.
And it's usually 2 to each side of what their limit is. It's over varying terrain. It's all outdoors. I don't shoot indoors because, frankly, I have a astigmatism where under fluorescent lights, I just really can't see good enough to do what I need to do to be competitive, and I don't like losing. So.
Right on. Gotcha.
You know, that's okay. So you guys shoot. How often do you guys practice?
On a year when I'm taking a serious run for it, this year the last 2 years I've had to have my shoulder reconstructed, and I've taken off. I came back last year just for one event, just to shoot the state, and I shot that and won it in the pro hunter class, and then went right back in. I still had some other issues I had to deal with, and then shortly lost my job after that.
Dan,
so
how often do you practice?
Well, before the new job, I would shoot 2 or 3 hours every day.
Yeah, there's times on those years I won national championships, I'd shoot probably, I would say, close to 1,000 arrows a week, and it was definitely a minimum of probably 500. And it's throughout the course of the day, but it takes, you got to practice at the longer shots to do it. Some people only shoot the one perfect arrow a day or so they claim, but it's like anything else. There's people that are naturals that can just pick it up and do it and lock in every time, but I'm not one of those naturals. I have to bust my butt and work at it to do any good.
Gotcha. What bow are you shooting, Dave? Or Dan, I'm sorry.
I'm shooting the Evolve 35 right now.
Okay, Evolve 35. And Dave?
Evolve 7.
Okay. Both PSE?
PSE shooters.
You gotta like that.
Well, Dan's got the new Evolve in his hands. Imagine that. Huh?
How do you like that thing?
I love that bow. They've come to the point now with the cam technology where you've got even cable wear on everything. You don't have to worry about stuff stretching or going out of time. It's just the bow just aims so nice. I absolutely love that bow.
And the big thing that they come out with this year on the cam is being able to take and adjust your
you can adjust the let off.
Let off, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So it's 65 to 90%.
Yeah. So the ECS cam system will come with the high let off mod standard, which has the ability to adjust between 80 and 90%.
Okay.
So 80, 85, and 90, and we've also got a module that has a low let off setting where it's 65 to 75%.
Okay. And for somebody who might not understand the difference between them, why would somebody want something that's a lower let off versus a higher let off?
It keeps you in the shot a little bit more, and the kind of shooting we're doing, if you miss, you might as well go home.
Right,
because unless you shoot a perfect 300 with 60 X's at Nationals, or you shoot 900 at Vegas, you're not going to get a paycheck that's going to pay you much of anything.
Right on.
So keeping you where you have to stay in the shot the whole time and not get relaxed and get complacent just makes you a more consistent shooter.
Being more aware of what's going on and staying focused. Mm-hmm. Gotcha. Right on. Okay.
That just goes to show you, just when you think, and it's PSE, just when you think they've topped it all last year, right? They come out this year, and you shake your head.
I know, it just keeps getting better every year. We say this on a continual basis. For the last 4, 5, 6 years, it's just every year. It just seems there's something new and something better and stronger and faster. It's incredible. So I like what you had to say. You were talking with us when we were live on Facebook, and you said, you've got no excuse to not get out and try this bow out.
Yeah, that's the big thing with this bow now is no matter what kind of shooting you want to do, whether you are a person that likes to hang back in the valley and just kind of sit there and wait for something to happen, a bow hunter, I'm shooting my carbon bow, my carbon 34 at 85%, because if something happens and I have to hold it a little longer than I want to, I'm not stretched to the point where I'm shaking. I can sit back and hold 7.5 pounds at full draw as long as I want. But if you're the kind of person that wants a lower let off to shoot it for targets, or you just in general like that kind of feel, you can make the cam feel that way.
Right on.
That's wild.
This just gets better every year, like we said. So.
I know, and it's okay. So Dave,
yes,
what let off are you shooting?
I'm right about 75%, 80%.
You're at 75%.
Yep.
It just amazes me, and then they go out and shoot.
I've lowered my weight though. I got smart. I used to shoot all I could. I'd have it cranked down. I'd have extra twist in my string to get that extra performance. But in the last 5 years, it's come along that you don't have to do that anymore, and you don't have to shoot the 70 pounds to get that extra, the extra 3-4 foot per second.
It's that point, and we see this when we're out there, that we meet some people that they got to shoot the 70 pounds. They got to shoot. And I remember the one guy up at the Cabela's, and he was straining so much just to get that bow back. And it's like, you don't really have to do that with all the technology that you have today.
Right on.
Yeah. That's where I started to go, was the 90, it's 90% efficient. So you can blow through 2 deer side by side, and you don't have to pull that extra weight then. But the speed craze, what I tell all the guys when they come into the shop, the speed craze gives you an error margin, but it's not enough that you even need to worry about. Mm-hmm. The error margin, if you're shooting you got everything bolted down as tight as you can get it, and you're shooting 70 pounds, and you've got a 29-inch draw, that arrow is traveling so fast that if you back it down, you're just getting the same performance that 5 years ago that you were getting when you had 20 extra pounds on it, and they were shooting even 90 pounds at different stages, like in the 80s with Pete and some of those guys. They're using 80-pound bows, mm-hmm. and just to get that extra performance out of it, and that's a manly bow. But anymore, you don't have to do that. You can get that feet per second. You don't need the margin of error because your arrow's only going to drop 1 inch rather than 6 inches.
Right.
Within your normal hunting range.
Right. No, it makes sense. I've dropped mine down. I'm shooting 60. Back in the day, you think you had to shoot 70, or everybody called you all kinds of names. But it's senseless to rip your body apart, especially as we get older. It makes it very comfortable to be able to shoot like that.
I dropped mine down to 55.
Right on.
It was just that whole.
Yeah.
Why?
Think all these women that's out there bow hunting, they're killing elk with 35-pound bows.
Yeah. Well, my daughter, she shot her first deer and killed it with 38, 39-pound. Yep. And it wasn't a complete pass-through, but it was a pass-through, and dropped it. So it's where you aim.
One of the things I like to do with people is, instead of figuring out which bow and how much weight you want to shoot, is what kind of performance do you want to get out of it. If I want to shoot a 400 grain arrow and I want to get at least 280 feet per second, all right, well, let's look at the bows and let's figure out what draw weight you'll have to shoot at each one to get that performance. Set the bows up like that, and then they pick from that. So they're actually comparing, I want this much kinetic energy. On this bow, I'm going to have to shoot 70 pounds. On the full throttle, I can shoot it at 45 and get the same performance.
Right on.
Or I can shoot an Evolve 35 at 60 pounds and get the performance that I want.
Figure out what they want, and then build a bow to fit them that meets that criteria.
Give them options in the bow that fit the performance that they want to get out of it.
Along that same lines, I think that'd be where we could throw in a good tip that most people don't talk about too, but all of us tournament guys know it, to setting your bow up. Not, a lot of guys shoot one pin in tournaments and they make adjustments to the exact yardage, but a lot of your hunter class pros and your pro bow hunter and all that stuff, they actually set their sights up. It's not set at 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, and then they're worrying about where to put it. They're set to the performance of the bow, where that peak performance on that graph, where it starts to fall. So they'll set their first pin, for instance, with my Evo. It's good out to 34 yards. So I know if it's less than 18 yards is the only time I have to actually change where I'm going to hold, and it takes some of the brain out of it. So if I'm up close, it's going to hit 2 inches high. This is in my hunting rig. It's going to hit 2 inches high, but if I'm way out there, out to 34 yards, I know it's going to hit 2 inches low, but still within that circle. That's the best way. It takes your thinking out of it. You don't have to look and say, is that 21 yards? Is it 23 yards? Because it's not always, a good time you can pull out your rangefinder. And in tournaments, we don't use them until after the shot, or at least in my classes. it's illegal for us to know the yardage. Sometimes I'll shoot ASA, which has some known yardage, but in IBO, it's all unknown yardage, which is good practice for you to do that. So we set our bows up. I can instantly look and know that's my first pin or my second pin or my third pin, whatever it might be. And I'm not having to look at little increments and crunch it. I know it instantly, and that takes out some of the brain factor, because we're our worst enemies when it comes to shooting any kind of a target, whether it's foam, paper, round targets, whatever. We're our worst enemies on that, and they're all targets.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah. See, practice.
Yeah, I need to get doing that too.
No kidding.
So
with this weather being the way it is.
Well, I was actually thinking about getting out, but my backyard's flooded right now, so there's going to be no shooting unless I got a rowboat.
It's just a little wet around here.
So, but you were back down in Missouri area this week, right?
Yep.
When you went back down, how's the weather down that way? I mean, are you guys getting some of the same weather that far south, or
it was soggy the whole time I was down there, but it was warm. It was. I think I left this morning, and it was supposed to get up to 61 degrees today in Missouri.
Isn't that crazy? Down at my dad's place in Alabama, and tornadoes. I mean, it's that time of year where things start popping, getting crazy. So
it's a wild weather.
Well, I'll tell you what. Let's take our next break. We come back. We'll continue chatting with Dave and Dan here. We'll be right back. We're going to step outside and be right back after this.
So what do you do when you've completely redefined the way bows are engineered? When you've reached the pinnacle and the band starts playing your victory song, you start a revolution out of thin air. Introducing the all-new PSE Carbon Air, engineered with true carbon technology to be the lightest high-performance bow in the world. Experience PSE. Experience performance.
We know the future of hunting depends on our nation's youth. But did you know that in many states, it's illegal for you to take your son or daughter hunting until the age of 12 or even older? As a result, we have fewer young hunters. And the Families Afield program is designed to eliminate those barriers. Hunting is safe, and the safest hunters afield are young people with adult mentors. Visit our website at familiesafield.org to find out how you can bring more families afield.
Back, third segment of the show. Everybody's sitting here in the cabin. Man,
Yeah.
everybody seems a little waxed this weekend. Everybody played hard, I think.
Well, yeah, kind of.
Dan was traveling across country. You and me and Dave were up late last night. So
We were up late last night, but it was for a great cause.
Yeah, Benefit for Kids again, annual banquet. But you and I scored pretty big.
Yeah, we did. First time ever.
I won a gun. You won a gun for the first time ever. So.
Absolutely. And you know what? With all being said, and all 600 people that were there, plus volunteers and everything, when they get to the story part,
oh man,
not
a dry eye in the place.
Yeah, I had Deb started crying. It just that's what it's all about. And the gentleman asking about being a Christian, and
yep,
that just
the kids know how to pull it out of you, man. It's just the little simple things in life, being able to go on a trip, or an elk hunt, or a buffalo hunt, or a fishing trip, or whatever. Because these kids, for those who don't know, Benefit for Kids helps these kids who are life challenged or have a disease that's eventually gonna get them.
Right, exactly. And if you don't know about it, go out to b4k.org and check it out. This is a great organization. 13 years.
Yeah, I think so. 13, I think he said 13 or 14.
13, and
this is my sixth one.
They're granting wishes every year, and they're taking applications for more years, and getting these kids out, whether it be petting the dolphins, or like you said, an elk hunt. I think there was some fishing ones that they wanted to go out and do some fishing with Jimmy Houston.
Yep.
It's just amazing, and what people do, and for them to get them out to have this is just incredible.
Absolutely. So if you guys get a chance, go over to their website, b4k.org, check it out, and if you so desire, make a donation.
Right, exactly. And you know what? The elk hunting thing, that's pretty cool.
It is. And speaking of elk hunting, Dan, you were talking in the break. You said that you actually went on a do-it-yourself hunt out in Idaho for elk?
Yep, it was 2 or 3 years ago. I can't remember when it was, but I'm a Stanislavski shooter. I'm not going to say I'm not, but Forrest Carter is actually a really good friend of mine. He invited us to come out and stay at his place, and we hunted the Targhee National Forest, which is all walk in, do it yourself, public land, and we went out there for 6 days and did 60 some odd miles in the 6 days, and
wow,
had a lot of really cool encounters. And if we would have known what the heck we were doing, we probably would. Me and the guy that went with probably would have both killed fairly early. So
right on. Now 60 miles now. Horseback?
No, all walking.
All walking.
All walking.
Okay.
Up and down hills.
In the mountains.
What was the weather like?
It was actually warm, which kind of stunk, but it kept them quiet in the middle of the day. But mornings and afternoons, they were pretty vocal, and we had rain one day too. So.
And you were out there what month?
We were out there in September.
Okay, so September.
What elevation are we talking?
I think we were at like 8,800, maybe 7,800. I can't remember for sure.
Okay.
But we basically hunted right. We actually walked up to the corner post of the Yellowstone National Park. So we hunted right on the other side of Yellowstone.
Very cool. Wow.
Yeah, 60 miles. That's some.
It's a lot of hiking.
So now you said you'd been successful much earlier. Did you score on one out there later in the hunt?
No. We said we had a monster we had within 25 yards and couldn't get a shot at it. We had another kind of funky rack one the last day that was 15, 20 yards, couldn't get a shot. Had a couple other real big ones that were 80, 90 yards. It was so thick we couldn't get shots where if we would have known a little bit more about calling and moving and using each other a little differently than what we did, we would have killed pretty early.
Well, for somebody that may be thinking about doing something like that, where do you even begin to do a do-it-yourself elk hunt? I mean, if you're going to go out on public land out west somewhere, I mean...
My suggestion after doing it with me and another guy that didn't really know what we were doing is to do it with someone who knows what they're doing and kind of show you the ropes.
Okay.
Forrest helped us a little bit, but he was busy at the factory getting orders out and stuff. Kind of showed us where we can hunt and showed us a little bit about calling. But after that, it was see you guys later and
have
kill
fun.
something.
Give the old point in a direction and say
they're over that way.
Yeah, go young men and have fun.
That's cool.
The cool thing about Idaho, though, was we bought an elk tag and we bought a mule deer tag. And with those two tags, if you had a chance to kill a wolf or a mountain lion or a bear, you can use your elk or deer tag on one of the other animals.
Okay.
So,
and did you score?
No, we didn't kill anything but a bunch of...
time?
What were those birds we killed? Partridge? Yeah. We killed probably 7 or 8 partridge and had those one night. Those were really good.
That is good.
Okay, now, that just made me think. Okay, you're shooting those and you're eating them. 6 days, 60 miles, water and food.
We went back in every night.
Okay, all right, fair enough. That was my question.
We didn't camp, so
okay.
My wife actually went along on the trip. She was the cameraman for the trip, so
right on.
She was in charge of the food and water for the day, and then we went back into forest every night and had dinner and kind of recharged and showered, and so we weren't roughing it by any means. But
gotcha.
For the first trip, that was a good way to do it.
I imagine.
Well, you did, your first trip, you just didn't go out there for 6 days in the middle of nowhere and just kind of. I think I know where you're going with your question is how did you carry all the food for that, right?
Oh yeah. I mean, it's something you got to think about. Ian Sparks, he just went out Colorado. I think we're going to have him back on the show. He did a DYI,
Colorado, yeah,
and and we see him at ATA and talking about the things he learned. So we want to be able to get him on and talk about those things. Looking back, besides being with somebody that knows the ropes, what's the one thing that you did learn from out there? Or something that you didn't know and now you do and you want to take back with you?
I need to start practicing calling way before the trip out there.
Okay, right on.
So just learning calling strategies on learning what their sounds mean and what you do to make them say either come and get me or I'm coming in after you, one or two. So just learning how to doing a little bit more research on calling and the sounds they make and what it actually means.
Right on. Kind of like with turkeys.
Oh, absolutely. That's exactly what I was thinking as he was describing that. It's like just like turkeys.
Yeah, I remember we took a buddy of ours, Randy Duncan, on turkey hunting, and I tried explaining, what a turkey does when they get spooked. They make the alarm putt, and he just went kind of trudging through and busted. And he goes, "Oh, I guess that's what an alarm putt sounds like." So it's like, yeah, you got to know what you're doing, but I got to imagine making the right vocalizations at the right time. Yeah. Is a key to that. Did you ever get in a position where you thought, oh man, this isn't going to turn out like I expected, and I might put myself in a little trouble here or something like that? Did you ever encounter anything like that?
Well, we had the second to last day, we had an elk that was bugling, and we thought we knew which ridge he was on, and we'd been around the area enough. It's like, okay, this trail here cuts straight through over the ridge. We can maybe cut them off. So we're not quite down on hands and knees, but we're ducking down and going through. And out there you've got grizzly bears, which you can't hunt because they're protected,
right?
And the black bears, and their scat's different between the two of them, so you can look at it and say, okay, that's a grizzly, that's a black bear. Well, we're crawling through those stuff, and we come across a steaming pile of grizzly scat, and it's kind of like one of those
it's one of those moments.
That's one of those OMG moments that says,
so
why am I here?
We're like, do we back out or do we keep going? What do we do? And it's like we just both got our pistols out and just kept going and hope for the best. We never did see it, but it was kind of one of those things where it's like, that's extremely fresh, and those things are not nice.
Got you to a keen sense of awareness real quick.
Oh, yeah.
On high alert.
What was your strategy starting every day at the morning? Did you start up to the top of the ridges and work your way down, or did you hunt the valleys? How did you hunt?
Typically what we did was, there was one parking lot we went to, and then it was like a 3-mile hike in to where we were going. And we get to a section where we either go up one side or down the other side. We get there, we call and just see if we could hear anything, and then from there we just made a plan. If we didn't hear anything, all right, we went over here yesterday and didn't see anything, let's go down over this direction and see what happens.
Kind of like turkey hunting in a way, I guess. I mean, I know that's putting it simplistic, but I mean, if you don't have private land, if you're out on public land and you don't know exactly where they're held up at, that's kind of the way we approach stuff on state land.
You go out there and you call until you hear something. Then you
make a plan. Right on.
But, and being public land too, we only ran into one other group of hunters while we were out there. But you never know if something's getting pushed or moved or whatever. So
that's another question I was going to ask: is how many other hunters did you?
We only actually saw one other group of hunters, and it actually turned out it was Forrest's little brother that was out there. He's like, you're hunting in my spot.
See, I'm trying to learn the tricks because usually around 8,000 feet is where you start running into thermal problems with the air coming up and down those gullies, and that's what busts 99% of the people. So I was wondering if you learned any little tricks to help get through that.
No, it was warm enough where we never.
You didn't have to do it.
Didn't have to worry about swirling winds and changing on you like that. Okay. Clothing wise, you said at that time of year. I mean, how are you guys geared up?
We walked in with, we basically tried to keep as little on as we could walking in because, I mean, I don't care how cold it is. If you've got too many clothes on, you're going to start sweating, then you're going to get cold sooner.
Right on.
But yeah, just walking in with a real light base layer on, and once we get to where we're going, then we start putting all the scent control clothing and things like that on.
Gotcha.
What's the difference in your hunting rig that you took compared to your tournament bow?
Well, at the time, I was shooting a full throttle whenever I was out there, so 33 and a quarter inches axle, 5.5 inch brace height. We were shooting a 410 grain arrow at like 310 at 58 pounds. And then my tournament stuff I shoot indoors is usually around 55 pounds.
Okay, gotcha.
What at that point, what was your effective killing range you were comfortable to take?
Oh, if I would have had an open shot, I wouldn't have had an issue taking anything at 90 yards.
Denny Steiner shot.
As you took the words right out of my mouth. Right on.
And that would be across the valley and everything, right? So,
oh, man.
I don't know. It's amazing.
The problem is getting something in the open that with nothing in the way.
Like you said, getting something in the open like that, and with nothing in the way.
Nothing in the way, and not moving, and not knowing you're there, and
it'd be a little difficult.
Yeah, if you read those old Fred Bear biographies, though, you'll hear in there and see in his kill logs that he used to take long shots on a regular basis.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And that was with his recurve.
Right. You were talking.
Longbow.
That's the thing. It's if you practice it, you can do it.
Absolutely. You're talking about having mule deer tag. Did you see mule deer while you're out there?
The last day we saw some mule deer.
Okay.
We tried to put a stalk on them, but they saw us before we saw them. So we tried to circle around and get where we could get in front of them, but it just didn't end up working.
It didn't work out. One day I got to get back out that way. I've been out once to Colorado. Dude, you got to get out there if you're hunting.
What was neat about his tag that because he had the 2 tags, he could also shoot a bear.
Right.
It's just not here.
No. It gives you options.
Absolutely.
So
it opens up your options immensely if you come across something like that.
Absolutely. You mentioned wolves too. Did you hear wolves?
Nope. Never saw any wolves. Never saw any. I mean, we didn't see any predators while we were out there.
Okay.
I know Forrest had killed a bear the week before we got out there. I sat one afternoon in a spot that he says bears frequent. When the elk were kind of quiet one of the days, it's like, all right, let's go sit someplace, maybe try to kill a bear. And
right on.
Just never panned out.
Didn't happen. I'll tell you what, let's take our next break here. We come back, we'll wrap up the show and get into what maybe happened here around this area next week. So we'll be right back after this.
The 2015 Dream Season Decree is a deadly combination of speed and precision. It's built for the moments when time stands still. When the only thing that will break the silence is an arrow slicing a clean path to the kill zone. The bow of your dreams is a nightmare for big game. This is PSE's Decree. Experience PSE. Experience performance.
We know the future of hunting depends on our nation's youth. But did you know that in many states, it's illegal for you to take your son or daughter hunting until the age of 12 or even older? As a result, we have fewer young hunters, and the Families Afield program is designed to eliminate those barriers. Hunting is safe, and the safest hunters afield are young people with adult mentors. Visit our website at familiesafield.org to find out how you can bring more families afield.
Hey, we're back to the last segment of our 398th show.
2 away.
2 away from the magic 400. It just seems like 2 years ago we were doing 300.
It was 2 years ago.
Oh, that's right.
I think it was in January, though.
It was
2015.
February. I think it was February.
May have been. Yeah, somewhere right around there. I know we were it was talking about ice fishing. There's no date on that plaque.
Oh, there's no date on the plaque.
No.
But yeah, it's coming up to our 400th episode, and man, I don't know where the time's going.
What are we going to do?
As of right now, we're not doing anything but coming into the cabin. Maybe I'll bake a cake.
I'm trying to get him to do a polar dip.
We're not doing a polar plunge.
There's 2 polar dips that weekend, and I told him I'd do it if he wanted to.
No, I can't do it.
I can't think of a better way.
I can. I got a lot more ideas than jumping in cold water. But the way the weather's going, it's not going to be that cold. I don't even know if they're going to have ice. But
right on.
But we're supposed to switch. We're supposed to get back to reality on the weather front next week.
Starting Wednesday.
Right.
Wednesday night. Yep. It's going to start freezing back up again. So hopefully we get some ice fishing in.
Right. But yeah, no, we're heading into, we got the deer and turkey spectacular coming up in February.
Third week in February, right after
Valentine's Day. Yep. Next week, Dave is going to be down at the
Kalamazoo Fairgrounds there for the traditional bow hunters expo. I'm not a traditional archer. I'll be there representing our bow shop, but my wife and her coach will be there having a little competition and testing out all the new bows. It's almost the equivalent of the ATA show for the traditional world, really.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Recurves, longbows,
traditional bows. Yeah. It's no compounds allowed, and I guess this be my. I haven't been since it's been many years since I've been there, but I guess it's a huge event.
Okay, and you're going to be there for...
I'll be there all 3 days. I'll have a booth there for Backwater Legacies and then also for our archery range. So please come look me up.
Quickly, we mentioned it in the very first segment. You and I are working on a video for Backwater. For those who may just be checking out the show for the first couple times here, explain what Backwaters is and where they're located.
Okay. Backwater Legacies is a youth development and outdoor education association. Our primary headquarters is in Ellettsville, Indiana. However, we get kids from as far away as Iowa, West Virginia. We have an academy, award-winning academy, where kids can learn all these different outdoor skills, over 100 outdoor skills. But we start with them with the basics, just like anybody else, but we take it to the next level throughout the progression of the 4 years. But yet we also teach things in ways that other people and other organizations are afraid to teach them. For instance, they'll shoot during their compound bow program. It's kind of like Scouts, but much better. Dig. We got our own patches, just like the Scouts do, and it is a merit-based program. So for compound bows, for instance, we actually shoot. We have the kids climb up in the stand, and if they don't tie in, they don't do everything exactly right, they don't get their patches. So they have to tie in safely, go up in the tree stand. They shoot from both a climbing stand and a ladder stand. They have a certain score that they have to achieve to earn this requirement, and it's not a gimme by any means. And it takes some of them, several years to achieve this. We have long range shooting out to 1,000 yards. Nobody else teaches that. Basically, though, we start off, after the fundamentals, we actually have what we call simulated hunts, where we take these guys on and we got a hunting trail that we'll walk down, and there's hidden clay pigeon throwers in the woods, and they're remote activated, and we challenge them to take those dangerous shots, but we're always right there, to stop that barrel. And one side or the other will always be set up to that, and then we'll rotate them so they all get the experience of doing it the right way and doing it the wrong way, but it's done safely. But just because we're using live fire, full-size shotguns, that's a liability issue. We have a great underwriter for our insurance that allows us, and then we have to do these kind of things. And we have underlying organizations like the Boy Scouts, the Girl Scouts, 4-H, Indiana Hunters Education Association, and so forth, that will also blanket us under their insurance, which gives us, we are insurance rich, definitely, and poor in general. But we do a lot of stuff that nobody else does, and we have experts that do it. We have the best in the industry. We have a traditional archery taught by John Fort, a 5-time world champion traditional archer. We have a guy that works for the Smithsonian, Ed Mosier, teaches flint napping and primitive skills. You can't get much higher than that. He teaches Indians to be Indians, is what some people say.
Nice.
And we have a falcon, master falconer, where that goes back to the 1400s of kings and princes using falcons to hunt squirrels and rabbits and foxes and stuff. He comes in and gives a demonstration. The camp is during the summer, though. It is 1 week long. It's overnight camp where you drop the kids off and leave them, and they're our headache for the week. And they'll learn. We're not militant by any means, but we are structured and organized. It is a Christian-based organization, where they do have the opportunity in the evenings to go to testimonials. It's not mandatory. We'll give them something else to do, but because 2 of the 100 of their best friends are going and doing it, they generally do it. And it's not hellfire and brimstone. It's about community service, serving your fellow man, and just being ethics, morals, and good stuff like that. So it fits everybody. And as you got to hear, I believe, a few years ago, we even got some atheists that come to our camp and send their kids. And those make for some interesting conversations at dinner time.
It was a good debate, and it was a genuine debate.
And genuine, yes.
Yeah, it's good. And, anybody that wants to check it out, website
backwaterlegacies.org.
Yeah, definitely check them out. Good place to send your kids to, and if you don't have the ability to be able to teach your kids things of the outdoors and they want to learn that, it's a good place to go.
Yeah, so. and check soon, like in about a month, to see Mike's quality film work and editing and everything else.
Yeah, we're working on it.
You guys have been pounding the video pavement.
Yeah, I'm still one eyelid cracked here. So
this is the end of a 2-year project.
Yeah, actually, a little over 2.5 years now. So we've been working on this. Absolutely. So we got the archery showdown in Kalamazoo coming up. We've got deer and turkey.
Dan will be there with PSE. They'll have a booth, so you can come see all the new.
Be able to shoot the bows.
Yep, we'll have all the new bows there. We've got to come out and shoot the Evolve and the Carbon 34, 32. Even have the new main lines out there. We'll have all the bows out there. Come out and try them. We got a shooting booth all set up.
Absolutely,
Can't beat that.
You got to get out there and shoot them.
What else we got going on? 400 shows coming up.
400 shows coming up. We'll do something spectacular. We'll figure something out. We always do.
That's right.
But no, other than that, if you're in Michigan, you got to the end of the month to get your turkey permits in, deciding if you where you want to go and how you want to do it.
Yeah, if you're going to do one of the limited draw hunts, definitely be getting that in by the end of the month. If you're going to be out on the ice, be safe. We had somebody go through the ice this week here on one of our local lakes, driving a quad out, 2 kids on it. Everybody's okay, but just remember, it's dangerous out there right now.
It is. So
think before you step out there on the ice.
Exactly. I couldn't believe they're out there a few days ago. Somebody did a picture on Lake St. Clair, and I was like, really? And they ended up having to go get one guy. So
they did.
Oh yeah.
Okay. All right.
He was in the water, and they had to go pluck him out. So.
All right, folks. Well, that'll do it. So we're gonna run a show just a little bit short this week here, a few minutes short. But it's been a long week. It's been a lot of fun. Dan and I won a few toys. We're sitting here hanging out with a couple good friends here, and
absolutely welcome Dan to Michigan and Ohio, and we'll be hearing more from him.
Yeah. Sorry, you're gonna be living in Ohio though. We're gonna have to straighten him out on that.
I'll come up and visit.
There you go. All right, guys. If you're out there underwater, remember, or in the woods, shoot straight and be safe. This episode was brought to you by PSE Archery,
Black Eagle Arrows,
Cabela's,
Antler Action,
Spot Shooter Archery,
Tom's Custom Turkey Calls,
Family Traditions Tree Stands,
and Badass Slingshots.
Thanks for listening, and join us again here next week. Until then, remember, as we always like to say, if you're out on the water or in the woods, shoot straight and be safe until next week on the Up North Journal.